Malaya! Mabuhay at malayang araw, Malaya listeners, and welcome to the very first episode of Malaya Podcast.
Things of Individuality, the space where we share and celebrate the strength, the resilience, and the artistry of the Filipino spirit.
By the way, I am Clyde,
And I am Czarina,
your host for Malaya Podcast Episode 1. Malaya Podcast is a series dedicated to exploring the diverse dimensions of equality. We are diving deep into topics that resonate with all of us, from challenges, setbacks, and moments that make us question ourselves and our own strength and individuality.
a podcast that serves as a platform for social justice, inclusivity, and equal opportunity. With that, we are excited to announce the theme for this year's podcast. Things of Individuality, which aims to challenge stereotypes and break down barriers through the power of arts and representation of multimedia.
Wow, grabe naman yon. For sure, miss na miss nyo na ang Malaya Podcast sapagkat we have officially come back for the 4th season. 4 na taon na makabuluhang pagbabahagi ng istorya at karanasan.
That is right, Clyde. We are bringing back a safe space to celebrate the strength and resilience of the Lasallian and non-Lasallian community. But this time, we also celebrate the artistry within them.
Kaya naman, let's get it on.
Nakaka-excite naman ang episode na to, kasi talagang sinigurado na ng De La Salaya at saka ng Mosaic na mapapakinggan ang side ng artistry while still upholding the values of equality.
Yes, that's right, Czarina. Kahit ako, I am more excited for this episode kasi I love art. And knowing that Lasallians are artists in their own ways, naniniwala ako na for sure they have meaningful insights and also experiences na ma-share sa araw na ito. Ikaw ba, Czarina, what are you looking forward to in this episode?
To be honest, I am extremely grateful first because I had the privilege to host this very meaningful podcast. And of course, excited to hear stories from our fellow Lasallians and curious about how art becomes a platform in promoting equality. Diba? Two different things, pero at the end of the day, they still come together.
Yeah, exactly. Pero balita ko, hindi lamang tayong dalawa ang makakasama niyo sa podcast na ito.
Really? Yung excitement parang tumataas na siya.
Yes, you heard it right, Czarina. Kasama natin, she is a writer, student director, and multimedia freelancer who has spent more than half of her life writing and using her art as a platform for social-political commentary and advocacy. She was the champion of ONCAT Pagsulat ng Sanaysay 2022 and served as the Regional Press Conference Delegate in Feature Writing Filipino from 2015 to 2017.
Beyond competitions, she has been invited as a guest speaker in numerous seminars and events that highlight the intersections of politics and art. She also served as the Lipa City Youth Vice Mayor in 2022 until 2023, further strengthening her role as a youth leader. Now today, she amplifies youth voices and advances her causes through her social media platforms while serving as a Vice President for Internal Affairs of Lipa Youth Angat Kabataan.
Kaya naman with that, let us all welcome Miss Alexandra Lee. Hi, Alex!
Hi, Clyde and Czarina.
It is nice having you here today.
Thank you so much for your invitation and I'm very grateful na andito ako ngayon and I'm looking forward sa fruitful discussion ng episode na.
Yeah, that is right. We are also thankful for lending us your time that despite of your busy schedules, nandito ka kasama namin. And with that, nagpapasalamat ang DLSL Laya and of course the Mosaic for bringing you here. Kaya naman, for this episode, we will be sharing stories and insights, all inspired by the anonymous letters you guys, our listeners, shared to our Google Forms.
We asked them to tell us about the time they faced a significant challenge and how they navigated it. The response was overwhelming, kaya naman we have curated a selection of these anonymous letters. We'll be reading these stories together, exploring and offering reflections on the lessons learned. Take note that we won't be identifying anyone. Of course, respecting the anonymity you entrusted us with.
Yes na yes naman. Kaya naman, excited na ako. And I hope excited na rin tayong lahat para marinig ang mga kwento ng bawat isa. Pero bago ang lahat, magkamusta naman tayo? Gusto ko malaman, handa ka na ba, Alex?
Of course.
Handang-handa na siya, no? By the way, Alexandra, Miss Alexandra, I just wanna ask, how do you want to be addressed po?
You can just call me Alex.
Alex, so tamang-tama yung tawag ko, si Alex. Ayan, thank you so much, Alex. Kaya naman,
Ayan, ngayon ay magkakilala muna tayo, Miss Alex or Alex. Ang ating main character for this episode. Okay, may tanong muna ako para sa iyo. Ikaw ba, how did you first realize your art or creativity can go beyond self-expression na pwede pala siya for advocacy?
Actually, ever since I was a kid, doon nagsimula ako na magsulat ako. Like, half of my life, I am writing na. Kasi, nung elementary ako, mahilig kasi ako sumali sa mga writing competition. And, luckily for me, I've been a regional delegate 2 beses sa press conference, and my category was feature writing Filipino. And I am very grateful noon sa elementary grade 5 advisor ko na siya talaga yung nag-push sa akin and nag-open ng opportunities sa pagsusulat. And over time, pagdating ng high school and up until now, yung art ko, yung writing in general sa akin is very mahalaga talaga siya, very important. And nakita ko habang lumalaki ako dahil din sa personal experiences ko na yung art ko, kaya ko siyang i-share, and hindi lang siya means of expression, pwede ko rin siyang gawing means of protest. Kumbaga, i-share sa iba yung talent na meron ako, and hindi lang ako yung magbe-benefit, kundi yung ibang tao rin.
wow, grabe yung stories ni Alex. Na half of her life, she is writing. And definitely, you are an artist, I would say. So gusto kong malaman, so paano ba yung mga Filipino, ano yung mga challenges ng Filipino artists like you, na paano nila na-face yung mga challenges na yun, at paano nila nagamit yung kanilang work for a social change?
Okay, so alam naman natin ngayon yung political climate ng bansa, and it's very dangerous. Sabi ko nga bago ako mag-college, actually, supposedly dapat ang kukunin kong program is malapit sa journalism. Pero multimedia arts ako kasi isang factor din is yung convenience, kasi walang nag-offer ata sa salita. So, ayun, balik tayo. And I think one of the biggest issue ng mga young artists and creatives dito sa Pilipinas is yung censorship, hindi lang ng institutions, kundi pati na rin ng society. And again, yung political climate na meron tayo ngayon, napakadelikado talaga na bumoses ka. And ako, personally, meron pa ring fear, pero palagi kong sinasabi sa sarili ko na if matatakot ako, paano na yung change na gusto kong mangyari? If matatakot tayo, sinong magsisimula nun? Kung mananaig yung takot over sa kagustuhan natin na merong change na mangyari. So, ayun, feeling ko and sa nakikita ko, yung censorship and lack of support sa mga artists dito sa Pilipinas, yun talaga yung pinakamalaking issue. Like, yung lack of support, parang sinasabi, lagi ko kasing naririnig personally na kapag artist yung kinukuha mong program or gagawin mong profession, hindi siya practical. Naririnig ko yun palagi, and alam yun ng ibang artist na sinasabi lagi na hindi practical yung kapag hindi ka doktor, kapag hindi ka engineer, yung mga STEM-centered na programs. And masakit siya kung iisipin. So, ayun, lack of support and censorship, that's the biggest issue pagdating sa artist dito sa Pilipinas. Yun yung lang sa tingin.
Grabe. Siguro masasabi ko doon, Czarina. I second mo. Okay. Grabe yung...
Tamang kinuha natin siya.
Oo, di ba? Like, yung expertise niya, or should I say, yung experiences niya as an artist, as a writer, talagang definitely fit the job, or will fit our speaker na magbibigay din ng knowledge and also ng kanyang experience din sa ating listeners sa Malaya Podcast.
Now that we know a little more about Miss Alex, now gusto namin makilala ang audience. You know what that means, Clyde?
Yes naman, this time around, kayo naman ang aming pakikinggan. So, katulad po ng ating podcast na to, we will be reading some stories and also your anonymity will be valued here. So, we ask our listeners to write their code names para at least yung i-address natin ay ang kanilang mga preferred names. So, let's take a listen to what Blue had to share. Sabi niya, there was a time nung high school ako wherein mahilig magbigay ang mga teachers ng assignments wherein kailangan naming gumawa ng mga short film. I remember nung nagkaroon ako ng idea na gawing Women Love Women or Men Love Men ang kwento namin noon. Pero since I was in a conservative school noon, we were restricted of sharing and making such stories in short films. I also perform here sa school and sometimes I feel like I am restricted of what songs I can perform here. Dapat patok sa masa and sometimes I want to experience more with my performance and choose songs then made by queer artists pero I'm scared na not everyone will appreciate it and I have to follow what the general audience wants. So grabe yung story ni Blue na yung gusto niyang gawin, nare-restrict kasi siya. So, curious kami, what are your thoughts about it, Alex?
I think yung story ni Blue, hindi siya isolated case sa mga artists. Kahit hindi artist actually. Sabi ko nga kanina na hindi lang censorship sa institution yung meron. Kumbaga meron din kasing dinidikta yung society sa atin, sa mga individual, sa mga tao, kung ano yung dapat tayo, kung ano yung dapat. And as for me, gusto ko lang sabihin sa sender kay Blue na I hope hindi siya makinig dun sa mga labels na inilalagay sa kanya ng tao. Just create art. Just create your art. Kasi, if papakinggan mo yung ibang tao, mawawala yung authenticity mo. So, hindi na mawawala yung mga sasabihin ng ibang tao. Hindi na talaga yun mawawala. Nandyan na yun. And, nasa sayo kung paano mo yun lalabanan through your art. And, I feel like, nandun pa siya sa point na medyo natatakot pa siya somehow. Kasi nga, kahit ako din naman, mayroong point in my life, lalo na pagdating sa pagsusulat ko, na natakot rin ako. Kasi nga, medyo delikado yung tinatahak ko pagdating sa pagsusulat. And, na-overcome ko siya. And I hope si Blue ay ma-overcome din yung fear niya kung meron man. And, wag siyang makinig sa dinidikta ng iba dun sa gusto niyang gawin. Just stay true to herself or himself. Yun lang.
Yeah. Parang napansin ko rin kasi sa story ni Blue, parang maybe he or she is an artist pero wala pa siya dun sa right field or wala pa siya dun sa right environment. Maybe kung hindi mo nakikita yung sarili mo na nag-grow ka in an environment, sometimes you have to explore din. Na lumabas ka dun sa place na magva-value talaga sa'yo. Makikita yung halaga mo and also yung halaga ng artwork na ginagawa mo. Because we all deserve to be loved and to be appreciated. And with that, thank you so much, Blue, for sending that information and also that story of yours. And I hope Miss Alex or si Alex ay nakapagbigay na advice sa'yo. Thank you so much, Blue.
Now, let's move to our next story for this episode, another experience from our listeners. This story is also submitted by Blue, pero iba lang yung spelling, Magkataon talagang para sila ng code names.
Or siya din yun.
Hindi natin alam.
Curious ako
So, here's their story. There aren't much cases, at least for me, when my ability to express myself creatively is held back due to inequality. I suppose conformity is what truly stops myself from expressing creativity. I like making art, whether it's through sketching, painting, or digitally. Back when I was younger, some people would say that drawing is for kids or that is only for girls. That I'll grow out of it once I get older. You could say that I didn't really express myself that much, but that didn't stop me from drawing. As years go by, I still persist to draw because it's something that I love to do, and I've learned not to be bothered by any of those kind of comments and just appreciate what I like and prefer to do. In some ways, I branched out my creativity and integrated it into my academic life. Grabe yung story nyo. Parang na-inspire ako lalo to do better. Kasi kahit ang dami niyang napagdaanan na hurdles dito, parang go na go pa rin talaga siya. Kayo po ba? Anong iyong
Insights about it, Alex.
Yes.
I feel like yun yung sinasabi ko kanina, yung kay first sender, yung struggle niya is yung environment niya. And yung kay Blue naman, yung sa second sender natin, I feel like yun yung sinasabi ko kanina na wag tayong makinig sa sasabihin ng iba kasi nga art natin yun and we cannot please everyone, and art is not for everyone. Our art is not for everyone. Kumbaga, hindi lahat ng tao maiintindihan tayo kung paano natin na-express yung sarili natin, and that's okay. That's fine. And kagaya nga ng sabi niya, in-integrate niya yung art niya sa academic life niya. Actually, ganun din yung ginawa ko, and nakaka-relate ako sa kanya na maraming tao yung nagsasabi na ganito, ganyan, and hindi yun naging balakid sa kanya na mag-stop, and itinuloy niya, and that's very inspiring actually.
Yeah.
Pati sinabi niya dito na parang ni-label kasi nung tao kung para kanino lang yung drawing, like it should be for kids and for girls. Pero I think mahalaga din na you must appreciate yourself then without really listening sa negative words na sinasabi ng ibang tao. Kasi you know yourself Alam mo yung strength mo. And also, if your passion really is to do something na makakapagpalabas ng tunay mong sarili or to express yourself really well, why not push for it without listening to other people?
Exactly.
Yeah. So, thank you so much for our second sender, Blue. And now, let's move on to the third sender.
Yes.
Agad. Grabe yung mga stories natin ngayon,
Yeah.
Parang madami sila, and yet, iba-iba, but at the same time, meron silang similarity at the same time. So, from our senders, itago na lang natin siya sa pangalang si Anne. Sabi ni Anne, how do I deal with feelings of being inevitably perceived and judged by the forms of media that I indulge in? I'm sometimes afraid of being seen in the things that I create, like my arts, music, especially since I tend to hide bits of and pieces about myself in those, using it as a way to express the things like my sexuality and personal experience that I don't tend to talk about. Medyo yung story niya, no? Parang she really, or he really, or si Anne, she really use her art as something na parang shield niya Parang yun yung nagiging shield niya dun sa gusto niyang sabihin.
Parang nakakatuwa naman na yung art, parang nagiging way mo talaga siya para mas mapalabas kung sino ka.
Yeah, but I don't know if Miss Alex would agree or say otherwise.
Actually, yung story naman ni Anne, feeling ko most of the artists can relate to her. Even ako, kasi actually yung pag nagsusulat ako and nilalagay ko sa social media ko, usually ganun kasi yung ginagawa ko. If meron akong isinusulat, palagi kong pinapublish sa social media platforms ko. And medyo natatakot rin akong ma-perceive ng ibang tao. Pero again, as I mentioned earlier, if that will stop me, hindi ko maaabot yung goal ko The goal is not to please everyone kasi when it comes to art. Para sa akin, hindi mo kailangan na maintindihan ka ng ibang tao. Kailangan mo lang i-express yung sarili mo. Kasi kung yun yung, sabi mo nga, ginawang shield ni Anne yung art niya. Actually, ako rin, ganon. And most of the artists, I think, is the same as her story, nakakatakot ma-perceive, and yes, it's scary to be seen. Pero mas nakakatakot kasi yung mananahimik ka for other people. So I think if nakikinig kaan, sana ay hindi manaig yung takot sa'yo, and gawin mong yung art mo, wag mong itigil para sa iba. So yun lang naman for me.
Grabe, na-inspire ako dun sa sinabi ni Alex na totoo, it's scary to be seen, pero mas nakakatakot kapag nanahimik ka. And that means a lot, na kapag meron kang gustong sabihin, you have to express it. Pero sometimes we have to know our limitations as well, especially in the society na we are living today. And basta ang mahalaga lang, katulad ng sinabi ni Alex, na huwag kang matakot. Huwag kang matakot na ipadama or express yung sarili mo in front of people. Because hindi naman kasi yung expectation nila yung kailangan mong ma-feed. Sometimes you have to really appreciate yourself, yung sarili mo. You learn to appreciate yourself first. And ayun, kapag nagustuhan ka ng iba, so bonus na lang yan. So stay strong. Stay strong sa'yo, Anne, and we hope na you can overcome a lot of things.
Okay, para naman sa ating next sender, ang kanyang pangalan is Yellow Coin. Okay, ready na ba kayo marinig ito?
Yellow Coin.
Parang
Medyo curious ako kasi iba-iba nga yung mga stories nila, and I like the uniqueness of each story.
Okay, here we go. Throughout my life, witnessing inequality has made me feel hurt and scared of the people in this world. Sometimes it's inequality between the rich and the lesser, the privileged and the oppressed, or simply gender identities being mistreated. I was never good at expressing myself through words. I find it difficult to word what I want to say. Therefore, I resort to making vent artworks during my private time. This has helped me express my emotions better. And when I show those kinds of artworks to my close friends, I've helped them feel heard or seen. It's also helped me be more aware with ongoing or new issues that arise from our world. Curious ako, ano yung vent artworks? Alam niyo ba kung ano yun? Ikaw ba, Alex?
I'm sorry, ano yun?
Vent artworks.
Vent artwork.
Yes.
Hindi ako familiar sa term, pero I feel like yun yung, for example, hindi ako sure ha. Ngayon ko lang siya narinig eh.
Yeah.
Pero for me, feeling ko yun yung art mo na doon mo inilalagay yung emotions mo. I don't know. Hindi na, ngayon ko lang kasi siya narinig yung term. So, I feeling ko yun. Hindi ko rin sure.
So, ano sa tingin natin?
Yung sa sender, ano ulit?
Si Yellow Coin.
Si Yellow Coin. Yung story niya, sabi nga niya, yung art niya ay inspired sa mga inequalities na nakikita niya. And I think, as an artist, naalala ko kasi yung isang quote na palagi kong i-share kapag may ganitong space at opportunity na nakakapagsalita ako. Sabi ng quote na yon, art should comfort the disturbed and disturb the comfortable. So, I think very relatable yung story niya. And I hope halos lahat ng artists ma-realize yun, na yung talent natin ay i-share natin sa iba na mapapakinabangan din nila. Kagaya nga ng sabi ko kanina, yung art ko ay hindi lang beneficial for me. I think gusto ko siyang ibahagi sa iba, and yung story din niya is parang kagaya nung akin na i-share niya sa mga closest friends niya, and nafe-feel nung close friends niya na may nakakakita sa kanila. And I feel like maganda yung story niya, and halos lahat naman ata ng artists and creatives ay inspired sa story ng inequality. And yun din kasi yung isa sa mga madalas na theme ng Filipino art and literature yung inequality sa bansa natin na nakikita ng bawat artist nga. So, ayun.
And also the way I see the story of si Yellow Coin. Kasi dun sa part na nakita natin na yung mga friends niya is na-appreciate yung nafe-feel ng mga friends niya, nasisin din sila, nakikita din sila. Parang si Yellow Coin and his or her friend found the connection talaga. Parang they really found the environment for them. Kasi nahanap nila yung tamang environment na magpa-value sa bawat isa. Kumbaga si Yellow Coin, he was able to express himself or herself, while ito namang kanyang friends, nararamdaman nilang nakikita sila. Kumbaga parang win-win situation to sa kanila, no? Which is mahalaga sa atin ng mga artists and also to those aspiring artists na gusto din ng ganitong gawin is hanapin talaga natin kung sino yung mga people na magbavalue sa atin. Like, you don't have to fit yourself in a society na hindi nakikita yung halaga mo. So, I just like how Yellow Coin really find ways para i-express yung sarili niya. And also, I like how he or she supported his friend, and the same goes by with her friends naman sa kanya din. Yes. So, sa lahat na nandyan, ayan, find your actual support system. And now, last na yata to. Bakit parang nakukulangan ako? Last agad? Pero yon, for the last sender, itago na lang natin siya sa pangalang si Toki. Wow, interesting name. Toki. So sabi ni Toki, I've found myself using creativity as a way to stand up for the people whose voices don't get heard. A big part of that comes from a younger brother who has a speech delay. Watching him struggle to communicate made me realize how isolating it can feel when someone or when everyone doesn't fully understand you. That's what pushed me to create a children's illustration book for my thesis that highlights the challenges of speech delay. At the end of the day, creativity isn't only about expressing myself. It's about creating a space for those who are often silenced, whether because of inequality or simply lack of awareness. Very serious yung motivation ni Toki, from his friends or from his brother. Talagang nahahanapan niya ng strength talaga yung situation niya. Na ganoon din naman kasi sa mga artists na yung story din talaga nila, nagiging strength nila para mag-create ng something really impactful. In his case, he was able to do it in his thesis, diba? His final thesis. Ikaw ba, Alex? What do you think about our sender? Or the story of our sender?
Gusto ko yung sinabi niya na yung art niya ay nag-create ng space for other people. Kasi, sabi ko nga kanina, for me, art is a form of self-expression. Pero I think ang isa pang function ng art for me ay magkaroon ng connection sa ibang tao. And sobrang inspiring ng story niya kasi yung kwento ng brother niya ay parang doon niya kinuha yung inspiration niya sa thesis niya. And ang ganda ng story niya. Kasi gumawa siya ng illustration book for his brother, and if makikita yun ng ibang tao na parehas ng situation ng kapatid niya, siguro mafe-feel nila na nakikita sila ng ibang tao and naririnig sila. At kung wala silang boses, may ibang tao para bumoses sa kanila. And very maganda yung story, and gusto ko yung sinabi niya talaga na yung art ay nag-create ng space for other people, which is true. And yun din talaga yung isa sa mga pinanghahawakan ko, na hindi lang siya for me, but also makikinabang din yung ibang tao. And for his case, ganun yung nangyari. Ginawa niyang thesis, yung story ng kapatid niya, and hindi natin yun makikita sa araw-araw na may ganong tao, and yun, very inspiring.
Very unique individual. And also yung kanyang ginawa, definitely show some, I want to show respect talaga dun sa ginawa niya. Kasi hindi lahat ng tao gagamitin yung mga platform or yung strength nila para sa iba. Which is very admiring din kay Toki that I would definitely give. Gusto ko siya bigyan ng palakpak. Okay lang ba bigyan natin siya ng palakpak talaga? Kasi yung ginawa niya, it's not for himself but for others, specifically his brother, which is something na very touching sa family talaga. Ikaw pa, what do you think about it?
Actually, pwede ko bang sabihin na close friend ko siya?
Oh?
Yeah, close friend ko siya and parang nakita ko rin kasi kung ano yung naging progress niya sa kanyang thesis. And masasabi ko talagang very inspiring siyang tao. Kasi lahat ng ginagawa niya is para sa kanyang younger brother.
Yes.
So parang grabe yung kanyang love for him. And parang I think from what I remember, pumasok siya ng art school nang hindi niya alam kung anong pwede niyang gawin with her art. And at that point, parang hindi rin siya ganun ka proud of herself when it comes to making art. Lagi niya she thinks na hindi siya worth it. I mean, yung art niya is hindi worth. So, parang malaman ko na hindi pala siya, malaman ko na ganun na pala yung kanyang state ngayon is super nakaka-proud. Especially na parang lagi kong nakikita kung ano na nangyari sa kanya. So, yeah.
Yeah, so nakakatuwa yung sinabi mo, no? Na when you think that this is not your forte, hindi ito yung bagay na para sa'yo, pero when you still push for it, maybe in the future, you'd be able to find the most creativity in you. You just have to follow the path you took. So, ayun. I'm so proud of you, Toki, for that strength of yours. Talagang, we are inspired and we aspire to be you. And hopefully, marami din yung mga bata or maraming mga aspiring young artists na makakuha ng motivation and also inspiration from your stories. Grabe! Natapos natin siya. What?
Grabe.
Parang gusto ko pa siyang marinig. Pero, ayun, but the time is ticking. Kaya naman, before we wrap up, Miss Alex, we'd like to ask something. After hearing all of these stories from all our listeners, ano ba yung message that you would like to give or to share with young artists who are still afraid to express themselves freely?
Siguro, sa lahat ng stories na narinig natin, ang gusto ko lang iwanan at sabihin ay just create art. And wag natin pakinggan yung sasabihin ng ibang tao kasi hindi tayo magiging free if magsisik tayo ng validation ng ibang tao. Again, hindi natin kailangang i-please lahat and hindi lahat ay maiintindihan kung ano man yung gusto nating sabihin through art. And that's definitely okay. Okay lang yun. And gusto ko lang din i-share na I hope sa mga susunod na generation ng artists and sa linya natin ngayon ay palagi nating i-anchor yung art natin sa katotohanan. And not just the version of our truth, but the truth itself. And sana gamitin natin kung meron man tayong platform, maliit man o malaki, gamitin natin siya to raise awareness lalo na sa kalagayan ng bansa natin ngayon. Alam naman natin kung ano yung nangyayari sa Pilipinas and kailangan tayo ng tao, tayong mga artists. Kailangan ng tao yung art natin. And again, sana sa mga ginagawa natin, lagi nating i-anchor ang lahat sa katotohanan at manindigan tayo through our art. And wag tayong mahiya na i-share yun sa mga tao kasi again, hindi lang tayo dapat ang nagbe-benefit sa art natin. Kailangan natin siyang i-share dahil maaaring ikaw na yung susunod na, alam niyo na, ikaw na yung susunod na makita ng ibang tao at ma-inspire sa'yo. And let's not stop creating because kapag tumigil tayo, hindi mag-evolve ang art and mananalo kung sino yung hindi natin gustong makita. So, final words ay just create. Create art and anchor your art sa katotohanan. Yun lang.
Yes, create and anchor your art.
Very short but powerful.
Yes, thank you so much. Grabe, what an inspiring message of yours and also an eye-opening episode for every one of us. Hearing those stories talagang reminded us how powerful art can be, and also not just in a form of self-expression but also as a tool for advocacy and change.
Tama ka diyan, Clyde. Each story we heard today showed us that creativity can break barriers, challenge stereotypes, and give voice to those who often go unheard. Through art, we find freedom. And through freedom, we find ourselves.
And with that, we thank you so much to our guest, Miss Alexandra Lee, for sharing her wisdom and experiences. Maraming salamat, Alex.
Thank you so much, Clyde and Czarina.
Yeah, thank you so much. And also, to all our listeners na nandito who still continue to support every one of us right now.
Para naman sa mga nakikinig, may this episode remind you that individuality is something to be celebrated. That your art, your voice, and your story all matter. Don't be afraid to express who you are, because in doing so, you may also inspire others with our Filipino spirit.
Yeah, that's right. At dyan na po nagtatapos ang ating unang episode ng Malaya Podcast, Individuality. Kaya naman, we are very grateful. Czarina and I are grateful to be here, to be your host. So stay tuned for more stories that celebrates equality and creativity and the Filipino spirit.
Once again, I am Czarina.
And I am Clyde. And this has been Malaya Podcast. See you in a while. Thank you so much, everyone.
much.